Hi, Legal Vices here. I'm on vacation, so if you're watching this, you're watching my future. We're here for another whiskey review. A few days ago, we did a review of a really bottom shelf whiskey, the Mellow Corn whiskey. It was pretty rough. It was pretty cheap and pretty rough. But actually, as it turns out, I discovered about a couple of hours ago that it makes a very, very passable old fashioned. We'll have to see what other cocktails I can make from it. But today, I want to review a very, very high shelf, a much, much higher shelf whiskey here from the Heaven Hill Distillery. Or this is, let me get it right. It's the Widow Jane Distillery that is owned by Heaven Hill, apparently. Um, I could be completely wrong, but when I opened up their webpage, it had a little banner about Heaven Hill. Um, so don't know what that's all about, but Widow Jane Distillery is in New York, and this is Widow Jane whiskey distilled from a rye mash, and has been aged in American oak barrels. And what happens is when you take the whiskey out of the barrel, some whiskeys are they're barrel proof or barrel strength, and what that means is you just take them straight out of the barrel and you put them in the bottle. So you can get some really really high alcohol content in some of those, more than 60% in a lot of cases. This is 45.5% or 91 proof. So what they'll do is they'll just add water to the whiskey that's in the barrel to bring the alcohol content down. And this is proofed down using water. What water do they use? It says on the bottle, pure limestone mineral water from the legendary Rosendale mines of New York. So, what are these? What are these Rosendale mines of New York? They're about 100 miles north of Red Hook in Brooklyn. The limestone from these mines were used to build the foundation of some of New York's and the country's greatest structures. The gargantuan caissons of the Brooklyn Bridge, the Empire State Building, the 27,000-ton pedestal to the Statue of Liberty, as well as Grand Central Station, the original Federal Hall in Lower Manhattan, roads across America, parts of the White House. So all of these things were made from the limestone that they mined out of these Rosendale mines. So why does Widow Jane use the water from those mines? Apparently, Rosendale cement was world renowned for its strength. The toughness made it the building material of the early 20th century and built many of the monuments that define America. The caverns that were mined over the better part of a century were then laid empty for a long, long time. Now, over years and years, rainfall has filtered down deep into the underground aquifers. They've combined to fill the mines with pure fresh water that draws its strength from the limestone that cradled this water. So, Widow Jane says that the result is a self-renewing source of unique sweet water, unusually high in mineral content, and thus perfect for making and proofing great whiskey. They say that this water from the Rosendale mines is their fingerprint and the signature ingredient in all of Widow Jane whiskeys. So what do we have here with this Widow Jane rye that's been aged in American oak? If we go to their website, the information that they have there, as I scroll through their various offerings, no, we don't want that one. And again, quite frankly, here, I just don't have the wherewithal to go through all of the the publishing and editing right now, because I'm going to be going on vacation here in just about 7 hours. So we're doing this live and uncut. The American oak aged whiskey is distilled from a rye mash. So it's a rye whiskey, and they say it's at least 2 years old. It's mostly rye grain and a touch of barley. The rye is a spicy summer rye, which makes some great cocktails. A good bitter or a splash of vermouth or ginger beer goes a long, long way, apparently, in making this a fantastic, fantastic whiskey. So let's get into it and see what this particular whiskey is all about, shall we? Again, I have never tasted this. I've had the Widow Jane that's been aged in apple wood, and it actually does just the wood from the apple wood makes it taste very, very appley. The nose is appley. The palate is full of apple. Oh, that is such a good sound. Ooh, sneak peek. All right, let's pour some here into the glass. Oh, I love that sound. All right. Let's give this a nose and see what smells and what scents we can draw from this. Give it a little bit of a swirl to get some air in there. Okay, it smells very much like a rye. Honey, there's lots of honey in there. What else? What else am I smelling in there? Oh, just about spilled it. Ooh, oranges. There's citrus, orangey citrus. There's a little bit of vanilla. And there's just a hint of pepper, which is very common in rye. There's just a hint of pepper there just on the tail end of the nose. It has a nice sweet smell to it. A lot of times if you get a rye, I don't know how to describe it other than saying a lot of ryes will smell very Christmassy. Nutmeg, cinnamon. They smell like a Christmas fruit cake. Lots of red fruits, dried fruits, things like that. This doesn't have that sort of Christmassy smell that a lot of the ryes have. It's very fresh, and it's fresh smelling. There's not a lot of cinnamon, just that hint of pepper, but lots and lots of honey and orange. Let's dive into this though and see how it tastes. That's where the magic is. I think I'm gonna have to do a whiskey. How to taste whiskey? How to taste whiskey when I get back? That would be fun. Why the hell is everybody sending me messages while I'm doing this? My phone does not do anything all day, and then right when I start this, I start getting messages. Put it on vibrate mode there. All right. We have the nose. Let's see what we're getting on the palate of this. That's the good part. That's where we get to drink it. And again, it's 45.5, so I'm expecting kind of a little bit of an alcohol bite. But the apple wood aged didn't really have that bite. So let's see what's going on. Ooh. Again, there's more honey on the palate, and you can hear my two big fat bulldog pig dogs snoring on the floor here next to me. I'm gonna miss those little bastards while I'm gone. But yeah, some honey. You can definitely pick up the citrus notes on the palate. It's sweet. It doesn't have as much alcohol burn as I thought it would, or as I was expecting with a 45.5%. But it's almost like a brown sugar. There's lots of brown sugar. I mean, you can definitely taste the rye. It doesn't have the same breadiness that a wheated whiskey would have, but it's almost into that bready zone. But I guess it's like a good rye bread. It has body to it. It has meat to it. It's lots of delicious oils in this thing. This is fantastic. Oh, and the finish after, just what the finish is what's left in your mouth after. It's very fruity, and that's not something that you would expect in a rye. I'm trying to decide what fruit it is. Apricots? Trying to get some of the vapors in here. peach. Peach and apricots. Those are not flavors you would expect in a rye. I'm very surprised by this. Yeah, so we get honey and orange, a little bit of a vanilla on the nose. The taste is just lots and lots of honey with some citrus going on and brown sugar, and the finish is peach and apricot. Maybe a hint of raisin in there. Now they're like the very last end, that very last little taste you get before the flavor completely dissipates from the tongue. There's a little bit of pepper and cinnamon on it. Well, this is a really, really, really good whiskey. And I don't know what it costs in the rest of the world, but here in Korea, it was about $120. I'm expecting it to be a lot less than that in America, but I just don't know. But I'm going to America in a couple of days. Well, in about 7 hours. So I'll know in a couple of days when I can get to a booze shop and stock up for my return trip. But I would say that the Widow Jane whiskey distilled from a rye mash, American oak aged, is a very, very good rye. This is a very good whiskey. I would give it probably an 8 out of 10. It's missing a little bit of the smoothness and some of those Christmassy flavors and aromas that you would get from something maybe that had been aged a bit longer, perhaps. But this is a solid whiskey. This is one I can see keeping in my whiskey collection from now on. I really like this. Well, for what it's worth, that's my whiskey tasting. I hope you enjoyed it. We do these every now and then. We'll keep doing them as I open new bottles. We'll do the tasting notes for the bottles, even the ones that I've had before. I just happened to get this one because I'd never had it before. It's very, very new to Korea. And so I picked this one up. And as soon as I get back, I'm picking up a bottle of the Applewood aged that I talked about before. And with that, go out, get yourself a bottle of this and enjoy it because it is good. Absolutely recommended. And on that note, again, I'll see you when I get back from my vacation. If you're watching this in the far distant future, I'm already back. So check out my channel. If you like what you see, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, sign up for notifications, and we'll be a part of your life moving forward. I hope you'll do that. Until we meet again for the next video or live stream, remember, whatever you do, enjoy your legal